been a little
Yes, nice to
bit.
talk to you too, Jamie. How are you?
Good, you?
I'm well. I'm really well.
Good. Well, I've seen season three. I finished it yesterday. I really enjoyed it. So, um,
I'm glad.
so, so can you just start by sort of talking about where I keep wanting to say Connor, where Tyler is at the beginning of the season? Just kind of, I mean, obviously he doesn't remember everything, but sort of when he shows up, just kind of what's going through his head, I guess.
Yeah, so at the end of season two, Tyler makes this choice. He's been through so much, and after the death of Jackie, he's really, really in a bad place, and he makes a choice that he's going to allow himself. He's not going to use the memory key. He's going to allow himself to forget about magic when he turns 18, and he leaves home. So he basically goes on this. He just wants to, in every way, emotionally, mentally, physically, get away. So at season three, there's a bit of a time jump, and we meet him in Wisconsin, and he doesn't remember magic at all. So he's totally separate from his family, and even when he reunites with them, he can't remember anything that they've been through together in the last couple of years. So he's on the outside, and he's confused, and he doesn't understand what they're going through and what's going on, and why it seems like something is wrong. In a way, it's sort of like where Nina, his mom, has been for the last couple of seasons. Yeah. So it's a very, very different place for Tyler at the beginning of season three than it ever has been before. He's used to being at the head of his siblings. He's used to feeling like he can protect them, and now he feels like he doesn't even understand them. So it's very different.
Do you, and I guess this is just kind of more your own opinion than anything, but do you think that he sort of, I guess, thought about them maybe being in danger, or was it just kind of a way he didn't have to deal with it? I mean, maybe I don't want to say he was selfish. In a way he was, but he's a teen, so he's allowed to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just sort of talk about that. And I don't know, like,
yeah, I mean, he definitely, it was a selfish choice in a way. I mean, at the end of season two, they think that the danger is gone, right? Like they've defeated Dodge. They think that everything is peaceful now. So in his mind, he's not leaving them in the middle of a dangerous situation. He's just protecting himself from memories that are really painful. And he frames it to himself as a mature choice that he's, leaving behind.
Yeah.
He's taking the natural route of things, and he's allowing time to take its course. But it's a way of hiding. I mean, he's hiding. And in season three, of course, it turns out there is danger still in the world. There's more danger than ever. And when he comes back home, he realizes that even though he doesn't remember magic, and even though he can't really process what's going on, he realizes that something terrible is happening. And he's forced to sort of, without having all the cards, he's forced to confront the choice that he made. And I hope by the end of season three, he's arriving at, he's a much more settled place, and he's able to make choices in a much more mature and responsible way.
Yeah, well, I think he had to kind of grow up faster than he probably should have had to, too.
Yeah, I think all these characters, unfortunately, had to grow up pretty quick.
Yeah, true. So over all three seasons, do you have a favorite scene?
Favorite scene?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Can be this season or
No. I'm thinking it's like I've had so many scenes with. I mean, I always there's so much fun stuff that happens in our show, but I always really the moments I always find myself like fondest of in retrospect are the quieter moments. I mean, I had a scene with Amelia in this season at the wedding where we're just kind of talking about, where Tyler is and where Kinsey is, and she's like really struggling with wanting to tell him, and she's trying to respect his choice, and it just felt like at that point we were so deep into shooting, and we were so close, and I felt like closer to Amelia than I feel with almost anyone in that way. And it just was a really, really nice way to work, and I really like it. Just felt like an extension of friendship at that point.
Right.
And that was really satisfying.
Okay, but you made me wonder, kind of on the other spectrum. This show has a lot of action and things that I think as an actor seem like
Yes.
they'd be really fun. Granted, I don't know for sure, but they seem like they would be. What's kind of like your memory, Connor's memory, not for Tyler, but just kind of the most fun that you've had on the set while you were filming, like something that happened that kind of sticks out for you?
I mean, there's been so much fun, but there's an extended sequence at the end of season 3 where we go into someone's memory and we spend a long time wandering around someone's head, and there's a lot of like twists and turns, and we spent weeks shooting this sequence, and it was Amelia and I especially. Every day some wild thing we'd be in like a crazy theater, pianos would be falling from lights would be exploding, motorcycle chase, it was just like one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, we were just, I mean, it sounds bad because we were doing our jobs, but we were just, I've never laughed so much in my life, because it really does feel like just being 8 years old again.
Mm-hmm.
And there's millions of dollars being spent on making this ridiculous stuff real, and like beautiful people working hard and like bringing all their talent and skill to making, you feel like you're in action here. Just like it was, that 2 weeks of shooting that sequence was like the most extended period of fun I've ever had working.
Very cool. You made me remember, though, I was talking to Aaron not that long ago, earlier today, and I had forgotten that the house was made, that it wasn't, I don't know, you sometimes forget as a viewer that it wasn't actually somebody's house. It is a very spectacular, not just the house, but the whole grounds and everything. Do you have like a favorite, other than in that memory, do you have like a favorite piece of the set or prop or something that kind of sticks out that you really liked?
Yeah, I mean, the exterior of that house is, I mean, I think it's hard to understand unless you like walk around it, how incredible it is. I mean, they took an empty lot. There was nothing there. And they built this entire house, and not just the house, but the landscaping, the roads, the trees, the well house, the garage, it's like a whole property that they constructed.
Yeah.
And it feels so lived in and detailed. And there's layers of detail that you would never see in the show. I think my favorite part of that was the well house. I remember going there for the first time in season 1 and it feeling like it sprung from the comic. I mean, it's so close, and sitting inside the well house when you're like locked in it, it just feels so atmospheric and so real, and so you feel like that was the closest I've ever come to feeling like I was inside the show. Yeah, that was pretty special.
You made me wonder, though, when you said that, is there like a piece of something that we didn't see as viewers that you think people would be interested to hear that's actually on the set that we don't know about or may not know about?
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff like the trim along the top of the ceilings has like keys interwoven.
Yeah, I saw the one wallpaper. I noticed.
Yeah, exactly. There's key wallpaper. There's all the like emblems on the corners of the wood doors have
Cool.
KH for K House. But my favorite little detail, there's on the staircase, there's stained glass paintings, and on one of the stained glass there's an image of a ship on a stormy sea.
Oh, cool.
And there's like a tiny little, they put it in as a joke, I think. There's a tiny little sailor like falling off the ship. And it's one of these things that like they put it in knowing that there's never going to be a shot of that,
Yeah.
But it's just, I guess, to keep themselves entertained. And every time I walk past that window, I was like,
that's cool. Yeah, I noticed that yesterday. Was watching it. I'm like, that's a key on the wallpaper, and I backed it up. Yeah. I'm like, yep, there it is.
There's a lot of that.
So other than the memories, do you have anything physical that you actually were given or took from the set to kind of remember?
I don't, and I'm indignant about it because I was trying to be responsible and not take anything.
And everybody else got stuff.
And I was like, I want a key, but then in my mind, I'm like, the keys they're really expensive props, and like I can't just take one, and everyone else took stuff, and everyone else got keys, and I'm like, I should have asked. I guess I could still ask. I don't know where all that stuff is now, but no, I didn't. I didn't take anything. I didn't rip any bits of the set off.
All right. Well, fair enough. What have you learned from Tyler? Has he taught you anything?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, Tyler's very different than I am. He's a different generation than I am. I mean, he's much younger than I am.
Yeah.
He has a different disposition. He has a different history. You know, he's a very different person. But looking back on the kind of the full journey of Locke Key, I felt like Tyler started in this place where he felt like a kid to me, you know? He felt like the mopey teenager, and she was all like shoulders and head, you know? Mm-hmm. And by the end of it, he really felt like an adult. You know, he felt like he was more on his feet, and he felt like he was more stable physically and emotionally. And I think even though I'm at a different point in my life and going through different things, obviously, I also feel like I kind of, coming out of the show compared to when I started it, I feel like I left it much more an adult. And that part of that is because, and part of that is because of the show, and part of that is just because of those 4 years in your life passing. But in that way, I think it weirdly felt like I mirrored what he was going through and where he ended up. Yeah, and that was kind of looking. It was not really something I thought about while we were doing it, but looking back on it, it kind of struck me.
No, I get that. I was just thinking when I first talked to you, you were in Falling Skies, so you were a lot younger.
That was I started that show when I was 16. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you've grown a lot since then. So, what do you want fans to take from the show? Like, what should they take from it?
I mean, a few things. I mean, firstly, I just hope that they have fun watching it. You know, I think the show's about a lot of things, but it was always made from the top down, with its first intention was always just something people could have fun watching, that a family could have fun watching together, that, you know, that a wide range of people could just enjoy and kind of give themselves over to the magic of this world, you know, and in the way that, like, when I was a kid watching Spielberg movies or watching Back to the Future, that was like the dream of sort of disappearing into a ride. So there's that, but also, I mean, I hope that after, you know, 3 years, that people feel like these characters have earned the place that they land, you know, and that everyone is in such a different spot than where we met them at the beginning of season 1. And I hope people feel like that's satisfying, and like that's that beyond the fun, that it's that it's like well-rounded, you know.
All right. Now, last time at the press thing, somebody had asked you this and you didn't really have an answer. So maybe by now you have an answer. Have you thought about, if you created a key, what you would want to make? If you could create any key to do anything?
Oh God, it is a hard one. I mean, I really like the creation key, which is a new one in season 3, which is which is one that I hadn't thought of, but is something that allows you to write or draw whatever you want and make it real. It's kind of cool. And I feel like I could use that for a lot of different things. I mean, I'm a big overthinker. I mean, it would be nice to have a key that would just stop that from happening, or it would or more directly, I guess, it would be nice to have a key that would allow you to, like, you know how you can edit an Instagram post. It would be nice to have a key that would let you, like, edit a conversation after it happens.
Yeah, that would be helpful. That would be very helpful. So I think I probably already know the answer to this, because you seem like you really had a lot of fun. But if they, years from now, wanted to come back and do more, would you be interested in that? People,
yeah, I mean, I'd be fascinated to know where. I mean, not to spoil anything, but considering where season 3 ends, I'd be fascinated to know how that is possible. But I mean, this experience was the most joyful working experience of my entire career, and getting to work, especially in these last 2 seasons, shooting them back to back for so long, getting to work every day with Amelia and Jackson and Darby and Griffin and our entire crew. It's like, they are some of my favorite people. And the thought of getting to work with them again, and especially down the line, and seeing where everyone's at and what everyone's doing, and that would be deeply, deeply fun.
So some kind of reunion or something.
Hey, if Netflix wants to, I'm there.
So do you have any other projects besides Locke Key coming up that you want to talk about?
I've sort of been in this rhythm for the last number of years, where when I'm finished a long acting thing, I turn and I try and spend some time on my own writing and my work that I do. So since Locke Key, I've mostly just been focusing on writing, which is less. It's total. I mean, after a year of going into work every day and battling demons, it's a different sort of battling demons. You know, it's a more private sort of demon fight.
All right. Is there anything else about the show that you think people would want to know, maybe that don't know, that I haven't asked?
I mean, I really hope people like it. You know, the reason why we're here and the reason why we got to make seasons 2 and 3, and the reason why I'm talking to you is because people watched it and people liked it, and I hope that those people who were there from the beginning, I hope the people who like the comics, who are the reason the show was ever made in the first place, I hope the people who binged it yesterday, you know, I just hope that people feel like it's the right way for the story to end, because a lot of my favorite people poured their heart and their talent into it. So I'm really proud of it, and I hope that translates.
Okay, fair enough. The only other thing I was going to ask is, do you have like some kind of dream role or person you'd like to work with, or something that's kind of in the back of your head that, you know, you hope to have happen sometime down the line?
Oh, God, there's so many amazing people, you know. It's like, even friends of mine that I like, that I love, who do such beautiful work. And I mean, there's so many people. I mean, I have a friend, Alice Oseman, who's a wonderful writer. She created this show Heartstopper, and she's one of the best people I know, and she's a genius. And she's telling queer stories in a really, really healthy and honest way. So I'd love to work with her, but the list is really long.
All right. Well, we'll have to look out for you again, seeing something else later down the road. All right. Well, thank you for your time. So. I appreciate it. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Everybody else will too. Thank you. So thanks. Sure. Have a good.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Evening.
Yeah, have a lovely day.
Tonight, almost. You too. Bye bye.